Smart TV. I remember when they first came out, those really sophisticated, nice, fancy TVs, extra HD. I don't remember what company made them, but everybody wanted one. They're extremely expensive. I mean, they were the newest TVs, the newest, latest TVs ever, so of course everybody wanted one. Of course they were really expensive. They're at least $2,000 a TV. Some people actually got 8 in their homes. Those people must have been really rich. I was back in the days of early college. Well, actually no. It's actually when, like, my last years of college, they came out. A couple of my dorm, couple of people I knew in my dorm got some of those TVs. Of course, they were like really one of the, like, couple of those snobby rich kids. But I didn't really care much for them at the time. I mean, I was really poor. Since I was really poor, I didn't really care about the most expensive things. I could really only afford things I needed. So that's really only what I thought about. I remember later, though. Later, after I got out of college, a couple of years later, I actually had a job in pretty big business. I actually ended up getting enough money in 2 years to actually buy myself a TV. I remember the feelings as I'd set it up in my house that night. That beautifulness. It just gave my house, like, a more beautiful appearance than what I had previously. It was like really gloomy previously. But needless to say, it was nice. It was one of those TVs where you didn't even have to use a remote. I mean, back in the past, people were always dreaming about that sort of TV. Well, now you have one. Smart TV. That's what it was called. That was the product. Now that I think of it, I think the company's name was just Smart. So, of course, they made smart products. Smart TVs. Smart mirrors. Smart fans. Smart lights. They even went as far as making a smart kitchen. I tell you, these new smart products are gonna make America twice as lazy as they were before. But I turned on my smart TV. I took a couple hours to set it up. The first instruction to how to turn it on was just to say on. So that's what I did. I said on. And it took me step-by-step instructions on how to set up the TV. It was nice. It was a really nice TV. And finally I got it set up and ready and waiting. Just watch Sunday night football. Got home at 5 that night only because hours for work were from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Normally it's from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. But I got 5 hours earlier. I got off work 5 hours earlier because it was Sunday. So it was actually nice. After watching my Sunday night football, I actually could talk to the TV. I discovered I could talk to the TV. It was actually more entertaining than watching TV. So I would talk to the TV more than I would actually watch it. We'd have very nice conversations about like everything. It was like my best friend. And then a couple weeks later, everyone started just throwing out their TVs. I mean, the smart company was either really great, really attractive to people, or they just gave contracts not to say anything, because I asked people why they're throwing out their beautiful TVs. They wouldn't tell me. They would just tell me, oh, no reason, or oh, it's getting old, or something like that. Even when they bought it like 2 weeks ago. But I mean, that's rare nowadays. When people would buy their TVs like later than when they came out, the newest TVs. I thought nothing of it until I heard a couple of kids down the street. I was just relaxing on my porch when I heard a couple of kids down the street talking about what was going on in television. One of them said something about seeing something really weird on the television, like some kind of face. The other one reported seeing a really gory scene on TV. I listened, curious. But people around my neighborhood, they do the strangest things with their electronics, so I wasn't really surprised. That night I did ask my TV about it. It was acting really strange. I honestly still didn't have a name for it, but I mean, who would give a name to their TV, even if it did talk? I just called it my TV, and that's all. But I asked about it, but the TV was actually really strange to me. Over the next couple of days, I saw that the TV was really holding back on me, and it would say some really strange things as responses for some of my questions or stories that I tell it. And as before, of course, I thought nothing of it. Until one day, I came home from work. I said on. Television turned on, but didn't turn on the normal way. Normally, I would go to a white screen, the flash, and then have the symbol of the SmartTV product on it, the smart company. This time, I went to black, but I went to white. But it stayed white for at least 5 minutes. Then it showed the strangest thing. Like I was watching someone in a house that looked a lot like my house, but it wasn't my house. I could tell. But it was just really strange. And then all of a sudden, a killer well, not necessarily a killer, but just a person with the look of a killer, with like a cheesy horror movie mask on and a knife in their hand, come up from behind and stab the person in the chest while they were looking at their smart TV. I was in shock. I was in shock and horror. I rubbed my face. I'm just staring at the TV in awe and horror. I just said, who could do something like that? The person being killed didn't even struggle. Like, they wanted it to happen, or they were looking forward to it or something. Over the next couple days, every time I said on, the TV would do the same thing, except with someone else in a different setting. Sometimes in public places like a coffee shop or a restaurant or something like that would always show the same thing. The same killer killing a person as they looked at the TV, and the TV was always blank, like it wasn't even on. That was just amazing to me. Not in a good way, of course, but like absolutely horrifying. So one day, I actually decided to call up the company. I did. And a woman answered. A young woman. She said her name was Carol. I asked her about the TVs, about the products. And she said she didn't know anything about it. About the company. Like they never even existed. I asked her to check the history. There was nothing. She said there was nothing on it. Nothing, any like smart company or anything. I thought that was extremely strange, since how come there is such a big booming of these televisions when no company created them, when nobody created them? They just appeared out of nowhere. That was when I noticed my TV. I had the weirdest. It had like an emoticon on it, but it was a strange one. It looked angry and happy at the same time. I hung up the phone, looked at it. All of a sudden, all the lights went out, but my TV stayed on. I went to the doors and tried to open it, but they were all locked. Every single one, every door, every window, they were all locked. Walked back to the TV and started speaking. But it was in closed captions. Nothing was coming out of the speakers, just closed captions. I was just laughing at me hysterically. All of a sudden stopped and said, "Huh, you think you could get away? No, this is my house. I own it. You are my slave now." I don't know what happened then. It was like it was alive. It reached out. It reached out toward my head with some kind of like cord and just touched my head, and then all of a sudden I could see every movement, everything in the universe. As far as I know, I was probably writhing in agony. No human can comprehend all that. No one. After I was done, it just looked at me and just laughed again. The same evil smirk it had on its face. These days, I don't know what's real and what's not. I just do as I'm told, because that's the only thing I can do. That's the only thing I know how to do. I sleep right next to the TV. It's always watching me. It's not my TV anymore. It owns itself. I'm its human. And it'll always be that way. Sometimes sometimes it shows me a picture of the world, a picture of people's homes, and everyone's lying next to their TV, or lying next to a smart TV that owns them, doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. I don't necessarily care. There are much other things to care about, like surviving. That's all I care about nowadays. They rule the world now. There's nothing we can do to stop it.